In the far reaches of the galaxy, where stars glimmered like diamonds against a deep black canvas, the Vanguard soared through space. It was a powerful starship, known throughout the sector for its fierce captain, Zara. She was an alien, a proud warrior of the Drakari race, with green skin that shimmered under the ship's lights and fierce, piercing yellow eyes. Her crew respected her, and her enemies feared her. Zara had one mission, to gather intelligence on the Galactic Empire, a ruthless force that threatened the freedom of countless worlds. The Empire was known for its brutal tactics, leaving destruction in its wake. Zara was determined to protect her people and those who could not defend themselves. The war had lasted too long, and Zara was tired of seeing innocent lives lost. On a routine reconnaissance mission, Zara spotted something unusual on her ship's scanners. A small, damaged vessel drifted aimlessly near a dangerous asteroid belt. "What is that?" Zara wondered aloud, narrowing her eyes as she studied the readings. Her instincts screamed that it was human, a species not often seen in this part of space. Despite the risks, she ordered her crew to change course. "Captain, it could be a trap," one of her officers warned. But Zara was resolute. "We have to investigate. If there's a chance to save someone, we cannot ignore it." The crew nodded, understanding her unwavering commitment to help those in need. As they approached the damaged ship, Zara's heart raced. The sight was troubling. The hull was scorched, and it was clear that it had been through a fierce battle. "Prepare to board," she commanded, her voice steady and filled with determination. The crew moved quickly, readying the airlocks for the transfer. With a hiss, the airlock opened, and Zara led her team inside the wreckage. The air was thick with smoke, and sparks flew from exposed wires. Zara's eyes scanned the dimly lit interior, searching for any signs of life. "Stay alert," she instructed her crew. "We don't know what we're dealing with." In the corner of the room, she spotted a figure slumped against the wall. It was a man, an Earthling, with dark hair and a rugged look. He was unconscious and covered in cuts and bruises. Zara's heart softened at the sight. She rushed over, kneeling beside him. "Can you hear me?" she called, shaking his shoulder gently. His eyes fluttered open, revealing deep blue irises filled with confusion. "What?" he mumbled, his voice hoarse. "Where am I?" "You are safe now," Zara assured him, her voice calm. "I am Captain Zara of the Vanguard. We've come to help." The man blinked, trying to comprehend her words. "You're an alien?" "Yes, and you're on my ship," she replied. "But we must leave now before the Empire finds us." With her crew's help, Zara lifted the Earthling to his feet. "Can you walk?" she asked, looking into his eyes. He nodded, still dazed but managing to stand. As they moved through the wreckage, Zara felt a strange connection with this human. He was strong despite his injuries, and there was a spark of determination in his eyes that mirrored her own. Suddenly, an alarm blared, jolting them back to reality. "The Empire's ships are approaching," one of her crew shouted. Zara's heart raced. They had to hurry. "Get him to the Vanguard," she ordered. "I'll cover you." With her pulse pounding in her ears, Zara took up her blaster, ready to face whatever danger lay ahead. As she covered her crew's retreat, she caught glimpses of the approaching enemy ships, their dark silhouettes ominous against the stars. The sound of engines roared as the Empire closed in, hungry for a fight. Zara's instincts kicked in. "I won't let them take you," she thought, glancing back at the Earthling. Determination surged through her veins. In that moment, she understood that their fates were intertwined. She would fight for him, no matter the cost. As the first shots rang out, Zara stood firm, ready to protect her new ally. The battle had just begun, but she was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Together, they would find a way to survive. The Vanguard sailed through the stars, its engines humming softly as it moved away from the chaos of the battle. Captain Zara sat at the control panel, her mind racing. She had saved the Earthling, Alex, but now they faced the challenge of keeping him safe from the Galactic Empire. As she glanced at him, she noticed his eyes filled with wonder and confusion as he stared at the alien technology around him. "Where am I?" Alex asked, his voice still raspy from disuse. "This ship? It's amazing." Zara smiled slightly. "You're aboard the Vanguard, my ship. We're far from the Empire's reach for now, but we need to stay alert." Alex nodded, trying to process everything. "Thank you for saving me," he said sincerely. "I didn't think anyone would come." "It's my duty to protect those in need," Zara replied, her voice firm yet warm. "You're one of us now, and I will do everything I can to keep you safe." Days passed as the Vanguard traveled through uncharted space. During this time, Zara and Alex developed an unexpected bond. Zara took time to show him around the ship, explaining its systems and how they operated. Alex was fascinated by everything: the strange buttons, the glowing screens, and the advanced technology that seemed so far ahead of his own. As they spent more time together, Zara learned about Earth. Alex shared stories about his home, tales of beautiful landscapes, vibrant cities, and the diverse cultures that existed there. Zara listened intently, captivated by his words. "Your world sounds beautiful," she said one evening as they stood on the observation deck, watching stars twinkle in the vastness of space. "I wish I could see it one day." Alex turned to her, a small smile on his face. "You would love it. There are mountains, oceans, and forests filled with life. But it's also filled with challenges. We face our own battles back home, just like you." Zara nodded, understanding the weight of his words. "It seems we are not so different after all," she replied thoughtfully. As the days turned into weeks, Zara found herself growing closer to Alex. He was brave and kind, always ready to help her crew with small tasks. He even learned some of their alien customs, often making Zara laugh with his attempts to mimic their gestures and phrases. One night, they shared a meal together in the ship's galley. Zara had prepared a traditional Drakari dish, and Alex hesitated at first, unsure of the strange colors and smells. "Are you sure it's safe?" he joked, raising an eyebrow. Zara chuckled, her eyes sparkling. "Trust me, it's delicious. Just give it a try." Taking a deep breath, Alex scooped a small bite onto his fork and tasted it. His eyes widened in surprise. "Wow, this is actually really good," he exclaimed. Zara beamed with pride, pleased that he enjoyed her cooking. As they shared laughter and stories over dinner, a warmth filled the room. In those moments, they forgot the dangers that surrounded them. They were just two souls, forging a connection that crossed the boundaries of their worlds. But beneath the surface, tension grew. The Galactic Empire was relentless, and Zara knew it was only a matter of time before they found them. One night, as they stood on the observation deck, Zara sensed the unease in the air. "Alex," she said quietly, "I need you to understand something." "What is it?" he asked, turning to face her. "If the Empire finds us, they will stop at nothing to capture you. You must promise me that you will stay close and listen to my orders." Her voice was serious, her eyes locking onto his. "I promise," Alex replied, determination etched on his face. "I won't leave your side. We'll face this together." Zara felt a swell of gratitude and admiration for him. He was not just a rescued human, he was now a part of her crew, her family. In that moment, she knew that their bond had become something deeper, something worth fighting for. As they stood side by side, gazing at the stars, both Zara and Alex felt an unspoken connection. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. And together, they would prove that love could conquer even the darkest of times. Days turned into weeks aboard the Vanguard, and Captain Zara found herself adjusting to the presence of Alex, the Earthling she had saved. He had quickly become a part of her crew, and their bond grew stronger with each passing day. The ship zipped through the dark expanse of space, far from the Galactic Empire, but Zara knew they couldn't stay hidden forever. One afternoon, Zara found Alex in the ship's training room, trying to practice with a Drakari weapon. He was struggling, his hands clumsy as he fumbled with the alien technology. Zara chuckled softly, stepping into the room. "Need some help?" she asked, crossing her arms. Alex looked up, his brow furrowed in concentration. "Just trying to get a feel for this," he said, a sheepish grin on his face. "It's much different from what I'm used to." Zara walked over and took the weapon from his hands. "Here, let me show you." She demonstrated how to hold it properly, her movements smooth and precise. "The key is to balance strength with control. You need to respect the weapon, it's not just a tool." After a moment of practice, Alex took the weapon back, trying to mimic Zara's stance. She watched him closely, ready to step in if he lost control. "You're improving," she praised, noticing how his confidence began to grow. "Thanks to you," he replied, his smile brightening the room. "I never thought I'd be learning how to fight from an alien captain." Zara felt a warm glow in her chest. "We all have something to teach each other," she said, stepping back to give him space. But remember, it's not just about fighting. It's about protecting those we care about. As they continued to train, Zara noticed how Alex was not only learning to handle the weapon, but also developing a deeper understanding of her people and their struggles. They spent evenings discussing their lives, sharing stories of their worlds, and laughing together over meals. The connection between them blossomed, growing stronger with every shared moment. One evening, after a long day of training, they sat on the observation deck, looking out at the stars. The vastness of space felt both beautiful and overwhelming. "What do you miss most about Earth?" Zara asked, her voice soft and curious. Alex thought for a moment. "I miss the sound of the ocean, the waves crashing against the shore. It's peaceful." He turned to Zara, his expression serious. "What about you? What do you miss from your home?" Zara paused, considering her answer. "I miss the bond of my people, the camaraderie we share. We have fought together for so long, but now it feels different. With you here, I feel lighter." Alex smiled, warmth spreading through him. "I feel the same way. I never thought I would find friendship in space, especially with someone so different from me." Their eyes met, and for a moment, everything around them faded. There was a connection that neither of them could deny, a bond that transcended their differences. But as their friendship deepened, Zara remained aware of the looming threat of the Galactic Empire. She couldn't shake the feeling of unease. The Empire was still hunting for them, and she had to ensure Alex's safety. One night, as the stars twinkled outside, an alarm blared through the ship. "Captain, we're being tracked!" shouted her first officer, panic evident in his voice. Zara's heart raced as she shot up from her seat. "Prepare for evasive maneuvers," she ordered, her voice steady. She turned to Alex, who was already on his feet, determination in his eyes. "Stay close to me!" As the ship rocked from the impact of enemy fire, Zara felt a surge of fear for Alex. She couldn't let anything happen to him. He had become more than just a rescued human. He was her ally, her friend, and someone she cared for deeply. They rushed to their stations, the chaos of battle igniting a new fire within them. Together, they would fight. Together, they would protect one another. Zara stole a glance at Alex as he moved with purpose, ready to face whatever danger awaited them. In that moment, she knew that their bond was unbreakable. They were in this together, and no enemy would tear them apart. The vanguard shook violently as enemy fire struck the ship. Captain Zara tightened her grip on the control panel, her heart racing. Alarms blared, and the ship's interior was filled with flashing red lights. The Galactic Empire had found them. "Captain, they're closing in!" shouted her first officer, Tarek, his voice tense. "We need to get out of here!" Zara quickly assessed their situation. The Empire's ships were faster and better armed, but she knew the Vanguard had a few tricks up its sleeve. "Prepare for evasive maneuvers and get us ready for warp speed," she ordered, her voice firm. "Alex," Zara called, glancing back at him. He was still processing the chaos around him, his face pale. "I need you to help Tarek with the weapons systems. We need to fight back while we escape." Nodding quickly, Alex rushed to Tarek's side. He had been learning how to operate the ship's systems, and now was the time to put that knowledge to the test. "What do I do?" he asked, adrenaline pumping through his veins. "Focus on targeting the ships behind us," Tarek instructed, his hands flying over the controls. "We need to buy some time." As Alex took his position, Zara deftly maneuvered the ship, trying to outsmart their pursuers. The Empire's ships were relentless, firing blast after blast. She could see their dark silhouettes against the stars, closing in fast. "Hold on!" Zara shouted as she veered sharply to the left, the ship swerving to avoid another round of fire. The Vanguard shuddered but held together. She glanced at Alex, who was now concentrating on the weapon systems. "Firing!" he shouted as he pressed the button. A blast shot out from the ship, hitting one of the smaller Empire vessels. It erupted in a burst of flames, giving Zara a brief sense of relief. "Good shot!" Zara encouraged, her confidence growing. "Keep it up!" The battle raged on, and the Empire's ships were relentless. Zara could feel the pressure mounting as they navigated through a field of asteroids, the rocky debris providing a potential shield against their attackers. "Tarek, can you program the navigation system to take us through that asteroid belt?" Zara asked, her mind racing. "Already on it, Captain," Tarek replied, his fingers flying over the controls. "It's risky, but it might give us an advantage." As they plunged into the asteroid field, Zara maneuvered the Vanguard with skill, weaving between massive rocks and debris. The Empire ships struggled to follow, their large frames unable to navigate the tight turns. Zara's heart raced with excitement as she felt the thrill of the chase. "Alex, keep firing! We need to slow them down," she called out, her voice steady despite the chaos around her. "On it," he replied, focusing on the controls. He fired another round, hitting another enemy ship. The explosion lit up the dark space, and cheers erupted from the crew. But just as Zara felt a glimmer of hope, an enemy cruiser emerged from the other side of the asteroid field. "They've cut us off!" Tarek shouted, panic creeping into his voice. Zara's mind raced. "Alex, can you target that cruiser's engines? We need to disable it." "Trying!" Alex said, sweat beading on his forehead. He adjusted the targeting system, aiming carefully. "Here goes!" The weapon fired again, and the shot hit the cruiser's engine, causing it to sputter and falter. The massive ship slowed, allowing Zara to steer the Vanguard past it, just narrowly escaping. "Let's get out of here!" Zara shouted, her heart pounding with exhilaration. "Set a course for the nearest jump point." As they escaped the asteroid field, the Vanguard sped toward the jump point, the glowing portal shimmering ahead. Zara felt the adrenaline coursing through her veins. They were almost there. "Come on, come on!" Zara urged as she pushed the ship to its limits. The Empire ships were still hot on their tail, firing relentlessly. "Jump in 3, 2, 1, now!" Tarek shouted. Zara punched the jump button, and the Vanguard plunged into the portal, the stars stretching out into streaks of light around them. When they emerged on the other side, they were safe, at least for now. Zara took a deep breath, her body finally relaxing. "We did it!" she exclaimed, turning to her crew. Alex looked at her, a wide grin spreading across his face. "That was incredible!" Zara couldn't help but smile back. "You were amazing, Alex. I couldn't have done it without you." As they floated in the quiet of space, away from danger, Zara felt a sense of relief wash over her. They had faced the enemy together and survived. The bond between her and Alex was stronger than ever, and she knew they would face whatever came next as a team. The Vanguard drifted through the silence of space, the crew still buzzing from their narrow escape. Captain Zara leaned back in her chair, her heart racing. They had made it through the asteroid field and escaped the clutches of the Galactic Empire, for now. But she knew they wouldn't be safe for long. "Captain, we need to find a secure place to hide," Tarek suggested, studying the ship's navigation console. "The Empire will be searching for us." Zara nodded, her mind racing. "Let's head to the Nebula Drift. It's dense and hard to navigate. We can use it to our advantage." As they plotted their course, Zara turned her gaze to Alex. He was still coming to terms with the events of the last few days, but he had proven himself in battle. She admired his bravery and skill. "Are you ready for whatever comes next?" she asked, her tone serious. Alex met her gaze, determination shining in his eyes. "I'm with you, Captain. We'll face them together." With their course set, the Vanguard raced toward the Nebula Drift. As they entered the thick clouds of gas and dust, the ship began to shake slightly. Zara focused on her controls, steering carefully through the swirling mists. She knew that this was a dangerous place, but it was their best chance. Suddenly, alarms blared once more. "Captain, we've been detected!" Tarek shouted, his fingers flying over the controls. "Multiple ships are entering the nebula!" Zara's heart sank. The Empire had found them again. "Prepare for battle! Alex, get to the weapon systems!" she commanded, her voice steady despite the chaos. As the enemy ships appeared through the nebula's haze, Zara's mind raced with strategies. They were outnumbered, but she had faith in her crew and the Vanguard. "Stay close to the nebula's edge," she instructed. "We can use the environment to confuse them." Alex quickly took his position at the weapon controls, sweat trickling down his forehead. "I'll do my best, Captain," he shouted over the noise. Zara glanced at Tarek, who was preparing the ship for evasive maneuvers. "Ready, Tarek?" "Always, Captain," he replied, his fingers poised over the controls. As the enemy ships drew closer, Zara felt a surge of adrenaline. The Empire was relentless, but she had fought hard to protect her crew, and she would not back down now. "Fire at will!" she ordered. The Vanguard unleashed a barrage of fire. Alex focused on the targets, his hands steady as he pressed the buttons, sending energy blasts toward the enemy. The explosions lit up the dark nebula, illuminating the swirling clouds around them. Keep firing, Alex! Don't let up! Zara shouted as she piloted the ship, dodging incoming fire. Suddenly, an enemy ship came barreling toward them, weapons primed and ready. Captain, it's going to hit us! Tarek yelled, panic creeping into his voice. Zara acted quickly, pushing the ship to the side just in time. The enemy ship barely missed them, slamming into the nebula's gas clouds. That was too close! Alex exclaimed, his eyes wide. Stay focused! Zara snapped, forcing herself to keep calm. We need to take out their leader. If we can do that, the rest will scatter. Tarek nodded, his hands steady. I've got their location. Let's take them down! As they zeroed in on the lead ship, Zara felt a mix of fear and determination. She couldn't let her crew down. On my mark, Alex! The tension in the air was palpable as they closed in on the enemy cruiser. Zara could see the ship's weapons charging. Now! She shouted. Alex pressed the button, and a powerful blast shot toward the cruiser, striking it dead on. The ship exploded in a shower of debris, and the remaining Empire vessels faltered, unsure of their next move. Nice shot! Tarek cheered, his excitement spilling over. But Zara knew the fight was not over yet. More enemy ships were emerging from the nebula, and they were not ready to give up. The crew prepared for another round of battle. Brace yourselves! Zara shouted as the Vanguard plunged deeper into the nebula, using the thick clouds to mask their movements. We're not done yet! As the enemy ships pursued, Zara executed tight turns and sudden drops, using the nebula's cover to stay one step ahead. She could feel the tension in the air, the fear and adrenaline mixing with determination. Keep firing, Alex! We need to create a distraction! Zara yelled, her voice echoing in the cockpit. Alex fired again and again, his focus unwavering. The Vanguard shook with the impacts, but they held strong. Zara felt a surge of hope. They were holding their own, and she could feel the bond between her and Alex growing stronger. Just when it seemed they might be overwhelmed, Zara spotted an escape route, a narrow passage through the nebula. Tarek, can you guide us through that gap? She asked, her eyes fixed on the path. Absolutely, Captain, Tarek replied, determination in his voice. Follow my lead! Zara commanded as she steered the ship toward the gap. With quick reflexes, she maneuvered the Vanguard through the narrow passage, the ship grazing the edges of the clouds. Behind them, the enemy ships struggled to keep up, their size making it difficult to navigate the tight space. As they broke through the other side, Zara felt a wave of relief wash over her. They had escaped, at least for now. But the fight was far from over. She glanced at Alex, who was catching his breath, and she knew they would face whatever came next together. The Vanguard floated in the quiet of space, surrounded by the colors of distant stars and swirling nebulae. After the fierce battle, Captain Zara took a moment to breathe. They had escaped the Empire's clutches again, but she knew it was only a matter of time before they found them once more. Captain, we need to make a plan, Tarek said, breaking the silence. He was examining the ship's systems, his face serious. We can't keep running forever. Zara nodded, her mind racing. We need to find a way to strike back. If we can gather allies, we might stand a chance against the Empire. Where do we start? Alex asked, his voice steady. He had proven himself to be brave and capable, but she could still see the remnants of fear in his eyes. There's a rebel outpost near the edge of the galaxy, Tarek suggested. They might help us if they know we're serious about fighting the Empire. Zara's heart swelled with hope. Then let's set a course for the outpost. We'll find the support we need. As they traveled, the crew worked together to repair the ship. They all felt the weight of the mission ahead of them. The Empire was powerful, but Zara believed in her crew and their cause. Finally, they reached the rebel outpost. It was hidden on a small moon, surrounded by thick clouds. Zara piloted the Vanguard closer, her heart pounding with anticipation. Prepare for landing, she instructed, her voice calm. Once they touched down, the crew disembarked, stepping onto the rugged surface of the moon. The air was thick with tension, but Zara felt a spark of hope. They were about to meet those who shared their desire for freedom. Inside the outpost, they were greeted by a group of rebels, their faces wary but curious. A tall woman with piercing blue eyes stepped forward. I'm Commander Lena, she said, sizing them up. What brings you here? Zara took a deep breath, standing tall. We're here to ask for your help. The Galactic Empire is hunting us, but we're ready to fight back. We need allies who are willing to join us in this battle. Lena's expression softened slightly. You've faced them and lived to tell the tale. That's impressive. But joining forces is not a small decision. What do you offer in return? We can share our resources, our technology, and our experience, Zara replied. We've seen their tactics firsthand. Together, we can create a plan to strike at their heart. After a tense moment, Lena nodded. All right. We'll give you a chance, but you must prove your loyalty. We have a mission planned, and we could use your ship and your skills. Zara felt a surge of determination. We're in. Tell us what you need. The rebels explained their plan to raid an Empire supply depot. It was a risky operation, but if they succeeded, it would weaken the Empire's grip on the sector. Zara and her crew prepared for the mission, their hearts racing with a mix of excitement and fear. As they boarded the Vanguard once more, Zara glanced at Alex. He was focused, ready for whatever lay ahead. This is it, she said, her voice firm. We're claiming our future together. The crew took their positions, and Zara piloted the ship toward the supply depot. The stars blurred by as they raced through space. As they neared their target, Zara felt a sense of purpose. They were no longer just fleeing, they were fighting back. Stealth mode engaged, Tarek announced, his fingers dancing over the controls. We'll approach undetected. As they arrived, Zara could see the supply depot, massive and fortified. The Empire's presence was everywhere, but she could also see a weak point in their defenses. Tarek, can you get us in through that gap? She asked, her heart pounding. Absolutely, Captain, he replied, focusing intently. Zara led the Vanguard through the gap, her heart racing. The crew was silent, their eyes fixed on the controls as they approached their target. Remember, we're doing this together, Zara reminded them. Stay sharp! Once inside, the crew moved quickly, working together to disable the defenses and gather supplies. The tension was high, but they were focused and determined. Every second counted. Suddenly, alarms blared and the depot was put on high alert. We've been detected, Tarek shouted, his voice rising with urgency. Time to go! Zara yelled, leading her crew back to the ship. As they rushed to the Vanguard, they could hear the footsteps of the Empire soldiers behind them. Fire up the engines! Zara commanded, adrenaline surging through her veins. Alex took his place at the weapon controls, ready to cover their escape. The Vanguard roared to life, and Zara piloted them out of the depot just as Empire soldiers poured in. Cover us, Alex! Zara shouted as the ship surged forward, the enemy fire lighting up the dark. Alex unleashed a barrage of energy blasts, hitting their pursuers as they flew into open space. The adrenaline pulsed through the crew as they made their escape. As they cleared the area, Zara felt a wave of triumph wash over her. They had done it. They had struck a blow against the Empire. Turning to her crew, she felt a sense of unity and strength. They were more than just a crew, they were a family. Together, we've claimed this moment, Zara declared, her voice strong and clear. And together, we will fight for our future. The crew cheered, their spirits lifted as they soared through the stars, ready for whatever came next. They were no longer just survivors, they were warriors fighting for freedom and eternity.